right. Let me pin my notifications, you guys. Let people know that I am on. And hello, how are you guys? I'm Jen with Four Hearts ABCs. You are joining tonight. We are doing a seller support chat show. So tonight is all about chatting with other sellers and about what it means to be a seller and all the things. I am co-hosting with another seller tonight, you guys. I'm excited. We're going to be having Iowa Vintage Style joining us here in just a little bit. And we're going to do a little back and forth with them, talking about um, their journey on whatnot and what that's looked like for them. And I'm going to ask them some questions. And then we're going to take questions from those that are watching. And if you guys are on here and joining us, I would love it if you would say hi in the comments down below. Let us know where you're watching from and that kind of thing. I'm just watching kind of the notifications as they're going on. But yes, we are going to be doing some questions and answers. And I'm very excited, you guys. I'm excited to have this husband and wife co-hosting, you guys. Hello, little Miss Crafty. You guys, little Miss Crafty's here. That's my mod and my dear friend Mary Ann. Give her a follow and she'll be watching your comments, helping us keep track of what's going on. Yes, welcome in everyone. Okay, so as we wait for the Iowa Vintage Style to hop on over, I'm just asking that people drop in where they're watching from. And we could do a little bit something fun here and have everyone that is watching do some tagging in the comments and letting people know that we're thinking about them. So let's start off with asking if you have someone here on Whatnot that is a new seller. You know them, they're just popping into the scene and they're a brand new seller. Give them a tag on here. And when you're tagging them, tag them with something like a new seller is so and so or whatever, and give them a tag, and that's going to help in case they don't come in, and then they'll know why they're being tagged. There's the raid, you guys. Hello, my friends. How are you guys? Welcome in. We actually were just tagging someone that is a new seller and um giving them a tag and just making sure that we put in the comments when we tag them a great new seller is, and then tagging them a hello. That
Hello.
way they know why they're being tagged, in case they don't jump on in. Hello, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Okay, you guys. So tag someone that's a new seller and, make sure we're writing something that lets people know why it is they're being tagged. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Jen with Four Hearts ABCs, and I'm very excited to have you guys with us tonight and inviting in our friends here. Um, Iowa Vintage Style, and they're going to co-host with us tonight. And we're just going to kind of go over some different things about their business and whatnot experience, and then we can take some questions at the end and that kind of thing. So this is Allie and your husband Josh.
Yes, he's
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
here.
Hello, Josh.
Our table.
Okay, so I do know I was looking at your profile earlier, just so I had the latest numbers. So you guys have sold over 7K items so far.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
He was
that's awesome. Yes, and then also you have 15K followers, my friends.
okay.
That's
Oh,
incredible.
that
That's
is
incredible. I love that. I love that. So my question is though, I've been kind of watching and being on trains with you guys and different
yes,
things for a while now. How long have you guys been on Whatnot?
yes. What is do you? What's the date?
April 23rd.
I'm not good with dates, so I have to refer to my better half.
Right, right. I'm kind of the same way. April 23rd, is that what I heard?
April 3rd will be 1 year. Yes.
1 year. So you're just barely getting close to that 1 year mark.
Yeah, we're
So
getting.
you've been on the app for 1 year. Have you been on the app as a seller the whole time, or were you a customer first and then jumping in as a seller?
I jumped right in as a seller.
Okay. Okay.
We
So
we spent like maybe 2 weeks like looking around and kind of getting our
okay.
bearings, and then
Right, right. And where did you hear about Whatnot from?
do you want to explain that?
I
You
happened to
have to get closer to me.
get closer. Okay. Um, so I found Whatnot looking for Pokemon cards. So
Okay.
that's how I found Whatnot, and then I showed it to Allie, and that was so when I found Whatnot, I was so niched and only was seeing Pokemon stuff and like people selling Pokemon cards because I was selling
Right.
Pokemon on a different platform at the time, and I came to Whatnot, was watching them, and then showed it to Allie, and she was like, I don't know, she played with the categories and found out
Mhm,
that
mhm.
there's more than just like sports cards or Pokemon
Right.
cards. So yeah, that's kind of how we found Whatnot. So through Pokemon cards, and then it was like, oh, there's a vintage decor category, which fit Allie really well because she's been selling vintage and antique stuff for like 10 years. So
Okay, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of categories. For those that are new to the whole Whatnot world, there's a lot of categories in there. And if you are just breathing, there's going to be something on the app for you,
you want me to
you
get
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
So that's awesome. Um, okay, so you've been on it for a little less than a year. Um, and you guys weren't really customers. Do you consider yourselves customers now though? Or do you guys just mostly come on just to sell? Or are you like the rest of us and we're like, we
Oh no.
dabble a little here and there because you get sucked in when you see something amazing, right?
When you're a seller, you're a buyer. That's just kind of the
Exactly.
way. That's the way it is. Most antique dealers are collectors. Like that's
Right.
just the so we would definitely say we do both.
Right. Okay. Well, then that means you're in good company because I think that's most of us. Um, do you guys have a 9 to 5?
Look at this thing.
Look at
um,
that
I
cat. How sweet.
I have a 9 to 5, so I work a full time job.
And then
Okay.
I've stayed home with our kids.
Okay.
So
Which
we have
is a
four.
9 to 5. No, I mean, well,
Yes,
24.
It's the it's
what
24, right?
is a hard job. Yes.
Yeah, right, right. So has that always kind of been where you've been? Is it as the stay-at-home mom and then Josh you as the out and about?
Yes.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have a
Which-
lot in common there. I am a
okay,
stay-at-home mom as well, and my husband does the whole out there doing his thing. So I
yeah.
do know you guys. You work your Whatnot business in the evenings after you've put your kiddos down for the night or gotten them settled, and then you jump on to do
Yeah.
your Whatnot world. And is that just because you want to make sure that you're doing you know what you need to do with your family first, or because you guys want to be able to be a duo team as husband and wife on the app?
I think it's a combination of both. So
Okay.
I sourcing during the day. So we have our youngest is actually a preschooler, and then all of our other kids are in school.
Okay.
During the day, like he's at school half days, so then I'll go sourcing and go get everything that we need to sell.
Right.
And then when he's home, it's not super easy to run a show because he would be interrupting
Right.
me. And I just like having it. It feels more fun to me when Josh is with me. So
Hmm,
then
hmm.
during that time, usually like in the second half of the day, I'll be preloading. We also sell out of a brick and mortar shop and then also at an antique mall. So I'm
Oh,
also
okay.
doing a lot of other moving pieces and things there, um, getting stuff
So
prior.
your brick and mortar, is that yours alone or is that yours
No,
combined?
nope. So it is owned by someone local to us. So it's like 10
Okay.
minutes from, she's an older gal, and she kind of shares the responsibility with several
Mhm.
ladies in our community. So I, myself, and a few others kind of, I would say, do a little bit more like hands
Mhm.
on, like, I don't know, styling and getting everything looking cute in the shop. And then we all just like take turns working it. So
Okay, okay. And then you
it's,
do an antique shop on top of that, or
yes,
a
yep,
booth on top of that. Okay. And now, is that all in the same town or is it
it is.
neighboring towns?
Yep, no, it's all in the same town.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
pretty small town though. So
So where, if you don't mind me asking, where is that town located? Like
yeah, Story City, Iowa.
Story
So
City.
Yep. So
yes.
it's like
Oh, okay.
30, or well, straight on 35, it's like 15, 20 minutes north of Ames and like 45 minutes from Des Moines.
Okay.
So
Okay.
north.
I know I was in that area not too long ago, and I don't know how close it is because this is my
Yeah.
only time I was ever in the Iowa area. And I had actually driven, I don't even know what highway I was on, but
Okay.
I actually drove by a place called Antique City,
Okay.
and
I'm
it's a
not
little
sure.
tiny town too. So I don't
So
know.
all we're in is it's called Antiques, Iowa. So
Antiques,
and
Iowa.
it's
Okay.
on the I-35. So there's like
Okay.
two 35 and 80. You probably were on one of those. Would be my
Probably.
guess. I don't know.
Probably. I don't know. I was going across the country and I had stopped at my sister's who lives right outside of Des Moines. So,
Oh, oh,
that's really all I knew. So it was like, take me in the
yeah.
direction of home. That's where I'm headed. So, that's awesome. So, as far as you guys being a husband and wife team, like who is in charge of which part of that team duo? I mean, I know you said you do the sourcing and most of the um uploading and such, Allie. So what parts do you guys have like direct roles that you give each other, or is it kind of like, whatever feels convenient at the time?
Josh is a jack of all trades.
Everybody, everything.
Yeah, we honestly we both do a lot of it.
Yeah.
So like
Okay.
works in Ames, which is like a bigger city. So like on his lunch break, he'll run to a few thrift stores and source too. So like
Okay.
I do, I would say more sourcing consistently, like hours wise. But
Mhm.
Josh has developed an eye for some of the types of things that we sell.
I have been trained.
Right, is
Uh,
trainable. I love it.
he is. I used to do all the shipping on all of like the other platforms that I sold on. But when we moved to Whatnot, when we started selling in higher quantities and like in
Mhm,
bulk,
mhm.
I needed more help. So he actually, I taught him everything I know, and then he got better at it than I did.
I love that. I love that. um and do you guys like communicate with each other like, I want to do this show, I don't want to do this show, this train sounds fun, or is it, you take the opportunities as they come and run with it?
I would say a combination of it. Most of it, I think,
Okay.
depends on like our schedule more than
Hmm.
anything. Like only logistics wise, if the time of it works. But you are correct that like there are certain things if I am not like, so I am the more creative visionary one in
Hmm.
between, and if I can't like really see the theme or like get excited about it, then it's hard for me to sell it. Or
Right.
if like, things that just are so like, okay, back here we have like a bunch of glass. We don't normally sell glass.
We're not glass
Hmm.
We're
people.
not, but we're on the 10-10 competition on Sunday, and like you have to have some glass. Like that, basically, if you want to be competitive, you have to sell glass. So, like,
Right.
I would say that we will step outside of our comfort zone if we need
Okay.
to.
Right. Right. Well, and it's really funny because I am not really a glass person. I don't have a lot of glass in my home, but I find myself attracted to it when I'm
Yes.
outsourcing. So then I'm
Right.
like, I'm selling glass left and right because I
Uh,
like it. I just don't own it. So yeah, I
yeah.
get that. Um, okay, as far as Whatnot's concerned, and this is great because you guys have actually done other platforms, which would be helpful for people who are either new to Whatnot or thinking about joining selling what on Whatnot. What would you say is the best part of Whatnot
Mm.
as a seller?
I would say that the community and the way that you can interact with both your customers and other sellers, like other antique dealers, like other people,
Mhm.
like we specifically have met so many people, especially like really local to us. Um, so I facilitate an all Iowa group chat that I just
Oh,
was like,
fun.
like this is a fun way for me to get to know some new people. And then as we're going sourcing in different parts of the state, we stop
Mhm.
by and meet them in person and like see where they're selling at the antique mall they're at or
Mm.
whatever. And that has been a really good way for us to cheer them on, like both online and in person, because those types of connections are just like super valuable. So I have
Oh, that's
always done
awesome.
relational. So like that is something that I just am passionate about. So
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I just saw someone popping in. If someone tagged you in this live stream, that is because you are a new seller that they are recognizing coming onto the platform. So that's why you must have been tagged, my friends. Um, okay, so as far as Whatnot is concerned, what would you say is the worst part of it? Like
mm,
something that you wish was different?
yeah, what would you say?
You have an answer for this. The messages, the
Oh yeah,
messaging.
I think that they need to really work on their inbox. It is
I agree with you. Well, you know what? If they had a section where you could search your
yeah,
messages,
yes.
because so many messages get lost. So, for those that are watching, if ever you feel like you're being ignored by someone that you have messaged, most likely you're not. Most likely your message has been lost down the line, and feel free to just reach out to that person and say, "Hey, I just want to make sure you saw my message or my message didn't get lost," because I agree. That's an issue for sure.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
for sure. That's
Um,
absolutely my biggest complaint.
I think so as well. I think so. I think my other thing would be and this is only for people who are actually selling on the platform already.
Yeah.
When you have inventory that goes inactive. So, for example, Christmas just left. I don't want to take all those Christmas items out of my shop
Right.
because I don't want to have to reload them later. If
Hmm.
they didn't sell, they went into a box, obviously, for the next season to come along, but they're
Right.
still in my inactive. But there is no way to combine those into maybe a
Mhm.
folder
Yeah.
Yeah.
that you can tuck away. Otherwise, you're scrolling past all your Christmas to get to the stuff you really want. So that's
Okay. My
another, like, dang it.
you want a suggestion on that?
Sure.
My suggestion for that is that I make a show like a Christmas show in 1 year,
Mhm.
and I import all that inventory in it right then. And
Oh.
you can just have it live and it can be collecting pre-bids.
Or
People,
bells.
yeah, or notifications like the bells. So that way it's loaded, it's you can honestly forget about it. And
Well,
then
is it though? Is it in your, but then it becomes active in your active screen though, if people are looking in your shop, right? If they go to your profile and they're looking through your shop and your items, they're seeing all those Christmas items though, correct?
a Christmas in July show, is that
Yeah.
right? A Christmas in July competition, and we had a few like really good 1950s Christmas pieces that I was like, how are we going to remember where these are? And then
Right.
I was schedule the show and we'll just import it all over because they didn't sell. And then we were like, okay, and now I don't look. You should look it up because I'm not even sure. if it's got any bids, which it doesn't matter to me, like if it gets any bids
Right.
or not. Just the fact that it is actually searchable, like through if you Google whatever
Right.
that is, like
Right.
SEO will that up potentially. I
Right.
mean,
Which is great. Yeah. Yeah. I love
right.
that Whatnot is actually doing that. That's probably one of the bests that we can talk about is that as long as you have an active item and
Yeah.
you put information in there that is searchable information, brand name, year, those kinds of things,
Yep.
when people are Google searching, it will bring up their listing on Whatnot,
Yep. Yeah.
and that's a potential of getting those
You were
items sold or looked at. So that's awesome. Um, okay, so you guys have been on the platform selling for a little less than a year. What do you think has grown your business so much so fast? Because there are a lot of people who are on here and they may have been here for a year or longer and they're
yeah.
not where you guys are. I know we're not in competition and we shouldn't compare, but what kind of advice would you give somebody to help elevate them
Yeah.
in that?
So I am a really big fan of like pivoting if something isn't
Mhm,
working and just like
mhm,
keep tweaking things and keep trying new stuff. And then like watch the data and see like did that help or not. So like and Josh, I'm not good with numbers with ideas, and then Josh knows how to tell if it was successful.
mhm,
So
mhm.
can you explain to her like what we did with like max shipping and
Yeah, so like we did
dollar
like a
starts?
max shipping trial at like the 6 month mark just because we were curious. Um,
Mhm.
I would say we've always had like lower starts, but like so now we have mostly dollar starts.
Hmm.
We're in conversation about that, but um, so we had like mostly lower starts, and we were like, well, let's jump into max shipping or see max shipping. Which, if you're a seller who's like, I don't ever want to do max shipping, I would say just try it on a 30-minute show because it will
Hmm.
you it taught me a lot about shipping on Whatnot doing max shipping.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
but we did like a so we did a max shipping trial for 2 whole months. Every show we did in 2 months had max shipping on it, and we were like we started it with the mindset of like, is this going to grow our numbers? And I don't know. There was a couple things. Neither of those things happened. So like our numbers did not increase. Like our viewers did not increase at
Hmm.
all. Um,
Okay.
really interesting. Uh,
We wanted to know if it kept people in our show
we wanted to
longer.
know if it kept people in our
Hmm.
show, and it did.
Yep.
So like our numbers stayed a little bit more consistent throughout an entire show because like we were having, we would start a show and have, I don't know, 50, 60 people, and then as you sell stuff, like the numbers kind of just decline
Hmm.
till they get to a lower part. Like I think that's pretty normal in
Mhm.
most. So with max
Right.
ship number hold a little higher longer
Hmm.
in our shows. And then like the big like number thing was that we see like about 8% of the what we get paid we pay back in shipping. So
Okay.
it's number. It's not like a scary number. Like we had a I think we had one show that it was much higher. It was actually a book show, which I just learned you don't do max shipping on books.
Books are heavy.
Oh, oh no. Yes, yes.
Medium was my mindset, like, oh, they're all gonna go medium mail, it'll be
Yeah.
fine. No, no, it adds up pretty.
Mhm.
So so we had one outlier, but you just learn things. Like you're like, okay, I probably will not do another book show and have max shipping turned on.
Right.
But
Or
so
maybe like you won't run as long.
so we finished that trial. I said it was completely unsuccessful, even though like we did see success, just not where we were thinking. And then we
Mhm.
stopped doing it, and we pivoted to just doing dollar starts with like buyer pays all shipping. So that's kind of
Okay.
trial, and that actually increased our numbers
Hmm.
um,
Okay.
over like I think we did like 2 weeks of that actually,
Hmm.
2 or 3 weeks, like not a long period, and it had increased our numbers enough where we were like, we're gonna put max shipping back on top of it because I wasn't scared about max shipping at that point
Mhm.
because 2 months. So um,
We were comfortable.
I was comfortable with max shipping, so we put that back on top, and that kind of I don't know
The combo,
The combo
I think,
increased
is
quite a
what
bit.
helped us the most.
Okay.
But
Okay.
until we had around like 75 to 85 people in our room.
Yeah.
So like we would condone dollars starts with like 20 or 30 people in the room.
Yeah.
Right.
We
Right. And
also
did you
like
guys see though when you were doing the max shipping the first go round? Did you notice that it was what you were noticing is once people got to that threshold, it was like, well, I've already hit that threshold, so I might as well buy more stuff. And stayed in the room longer because of that, versus without having the max shipping, people were like, okay, I filled my box and now it's started back over, so I'm out.
yeah. I think so. I think that's a lot of it. I think once you know your box is full, you just leave. Whereas if you have
Mhm.
like a continuously open box, you're more likely to stay. I don't think there's there's always a seems to be a few people in every show that really do fill their box.
Really fill their
Like
box.
that's just what happens. But like for the most part, I would say we don't see a lot of people like really filling their box.
Mhm.
Okay.
So like I don't know. I don't know if that's always true, but like for the most part, I'm usually expecting there to be 2 to 4 people that I'm like, you're gonna have 10 plus items in your box potentially on a long show, and then
Right.
everybody pretty normal to like what I would like think a normal show is. So
Well, and I guess I could kind of be along the same lines of like a buffet. You know, a
yeah,
buffet, most people are not going to overdo it, but then every once in a while you're going to get that person in that they're going to get their money's worth. You know, and then some. So, yeah, I
We
can see that.
sponsored or boosting. We have
Mhm.
had people come in and do a community boost,
yeah, and
but we've never paid for our own
we have done a few community boosts
for other
for other
people.
people
Yeah,
as well, but we've never
Right.
like
never
boosted
sponsored our
ourselves.
own show though, so we
Right.
don't have to know that.
Yeah,
Right. And are you guys on I know I looked on your guys's profile today looking for like how what kind of shows you guys are doing here um in the near future. And I saw quite a bit of raid trains. Are you guys do you guys always try to be consistent in the days you go on or the number of shows you do? Is there like a component to that consistency, or is it just kind of what happens from week to week?
Yes, so this month has been a total outlier. We are not usually on as many raid trains as we are this month.
Hmm.
um like accidentally overbooked ourselves. So it got really full, and we have not had any of our own. I don't even remember when was our last own
I don't
show.
even remember when our last like own show was at this point. It's
Yeah,
been a couple
it's been a
weeks.
while, but we typically do a Monday show, and then sometimes we pop up on either a Wednesday or a Thursday.
Yeah,
It kind of depends on our kids' schedules.
I do think there's value in consistency on the app. I think these a
Hmm.
lot of who are very consistent with their run times, running the same day, the same time every week, and I think they see a lot of success with that. That's something that we've constantly been talking about, like for our future, as far as like we need to not overbook ourselves with too many raid trains so that we can
I've
have
learned
enough
my lesson.
freedom to be consistent.
Right.
Because able to this month, which is it's okay. Like it's not, raid trains are fun. They go over well, and like they're fun to curate for too. So especially if
Yeah.
you're on one, you really like the theme. So um, they're
One
good.
thing though we have realized with doing that is that we have a hard time having our own show because we set off all of like the best stuff
Yeah,
for our trains.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
what we're left with for like our own show is like unless we think of a theme for our own show and start setting stuff aside for that, it's like
Mhm.
we kind of got the leftovers, which we don't love. Like we want every show that we do to have things we love in it. So that's
Right.
all the puzzle of like we haven't done our own show because we haven't had the stuff
yeah.
to do it.
Right. And do you guys though, as parents of younger kids, do you find that finding that consistency and that spot difficult? I know my own personal. I only have one more kiddo in school. She's a
Yeah.
junior, and so like you would think at this point we're getting to the point where I can be more consistent and I could know, but she switches sports every, couple of months. And so my schedule's always changing. But I know when you have littles, sometimes it's just really hard to, narrow down what's a good, consistent time and date.
Right. And that's probably one of the hardest things for us is like
Mhm.
we've had a difficult time picking a night of the week because
Mhm.
it does depend which season we're in. We have like
Mhm.
I would say two kids that are in sports and two that aren't, which thank goodness because if they if they all four were, we would be like going in 7 million directions.
Right.
But make it easy for us like to
Mhm.
schedule shows.
Yeah. But that is
Okay.
part of the puzzle too. Like whether we go on, usually our show doesn't start until 8:30 because our kids
Mhm.
are in bed at that
Mhm.
time, and that's something we can, for the most part, be consistent with. So
Yeah.
Right, right. So people just know if you're going to be on, they're going to be finding you later in the evenings. And so that's how they can find you
Yeah.
easier because you're consistent with at least that time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And switch times. So like if we hop on a show in the morning, it's really different.
very different.
Like we have
Mhm.
a whole different crowd, like
Right.
that we really know,
Yeah.
like
And
Right. Well, but that also is a positive because then you are actually attracting new
Mhm.
customers who don't know you.
yep.
right. Yep.
Yeah, which
Yes.
I think is a positive with trains,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is that you do, meet new people because you are just
Right.
sometimes you are just taking a spot that's the only open spot or,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I totally get that. Um okay, so if you were to just give me, in general, three things that you wish you would have known as a brand new seller coming in, what
Mm.
were the three things that kind of took you off guard and you were like, oh, I wish I would have known that at the beginning?
Hmm. What would you say? Um,
That's a good question.
that is a really good question. You have us stumped.
Oh shoot! Oh shoot! Well, because I always laugh because mine was shipping, and I've said this every time I've asked somebody that question. Mine
Yeah.
was shipping. I did not realize that when you put in your weight, that you have to add in all of your other weight
Yeah.
considerations, your box, your wrapping, your So when I did my very first show. I put in the weight of the item because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. And yeah, I ended up, losing about
Right.
$80 on my first show. And I knew it was my own fault. So I wasn't deterred and not willing to go back on and do it again. But it was a little bit of a owie kind of lesson to learn. So
Feel like everything so I am naturally just like an optimist. So
mhm,
even when something like goes wrong, I don't really see it as a problem. I see it as like, oh well, I learned something just now. So,
mhm,
so this question is really hard for me because I feel like even the things that like were bad, it was good for me to learn because now I know.
right,
So
right, right.
uh,
I think one of the biggest things we've changed the most from, I'm thinking like this is like when we very first started is kind of our sourcing,
mhm,
like how we're
Mhm.
a lot.
yeah,
Um, I don't know. One of like the first bigger auction pickups that we did, we bought a lot of lots that had like a couple good items on it, but they had like a bunch of stuff that we weren't interested in,
mhm,
and like we were unprepared with what to do with that stuff.
yeah,
Like we just
Mhm. Mhm.
it actually sat in our inventory room for
too long.
I don't know 7 months,
Cluttered up. It took up brain space. It took
and
up physical space.
it was stuff that we're just like, and then it finally
Yeah,
was like we just need
you
to
need to do
either
something
sell
with it.
this or get rid
Donate
of it
it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
because it's
Mhm.
like we didn't buy what the lots that we bought. We didn't buy for this stuff. Why is this stuff still sitting here?
yeah.
So I think that was one
Right.
of us
Mm,
that I
mhm,
learned. I was like, we need to either source different or make decisions faster and
mhm,
not have stuff cluttering up kind of like space.
yeah.
So
Right.
that's
Right.
maybe
And you guys did do like the cubby sale, right? to try to
Yeah.
move some items. And I don't know if that's the items you're talking about, but I do remember you guys doing a cubby sale and like it was just like get it out of here,
Yes.
kind of thing. So was that,
Yep.
kind of those kinds of items where they were items you were loving, you didn't get them for a certain reason, but you had them
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
and wanted
But,
somebody else to have them instead. So
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah.
perfect. Perfect. So we talked about you guys doing your own shows versus doing raid trains.
Yep.
Um, and I think, would you say having a good balance of the two is where people should try to do, or should they focus more on their own shows, focus more on the trains? What's your take on that?
I think that the beauty in Whatnot is that there's no right or wrong answer
Yeah.
to that.
Mhm.
That you could be we have friends that are very, very successful that don't do any trains. Like they just
Mhm.
do their own thing.
Yep.
And that is going really well for them. And we have some friends that don't like coming on to do their own shows at all. That if they don't have a team and some accountability, that they just won't come on. So like I think it kind of just depends.
Right.
We have gone back and forth trying to figure out a balance of like what is right for us.
Mhm.
We know what we did this month is not right for us.
Mhm.
Busy.
Yeah.
But
I go back to so like Whatnot does a seller support show. I think it's on Tuesdays, like every other Tuesday.
mhm.
It's put on by why can't I remember his name right now? It's put on by a guy that works for Whatnot, and
Oh,
he
okay.
he interviews different either sellers or other people that work for Whatnot. He interviewed the CEO of Whatnot one time, and they just stream it live on Whatnot. And uh, he has said so many times, like thinking about like your shows, because he's also a seller on the app, so he also sells. Um, and he has said so many times that you should have 2 shows a week. And I'm not saying this is just his model, right? So don't be like, oh, I got to have this many shows a week. But it's like, he's like, you should have 2 shows a week that are your bread and butter show. Like these shows, like people know what to expect when they come into your
Mhm.
show because you're known for what you're doing during these shows.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then you have a few other categories. It's like you can have like an exploratory show where it's like you're trying something new, or you can. Um, so I have kind of taken that and tweaked it a little bit. So like our goal is that we have like 2 bread and butter, so 2 shows that are our shows that um, we're as consistent with as we can be, and then like that kind of exploratory third or fourth show, if we're ever like thinking as crazy as we were last week, um, is like we add in a raid train. So like that's kind of that's what I would like our schedule to look like. We're having
Yeah.
2 shows that we're kind of known for, and then we're adding in a raid train
Right.
here and there. So
Okay.
This is the account he's talking about. It's Whatnot Sellers.
Oh, whatnot sellers. Okay. Okay.
So that's
I'll have to remember that. I was just gonna ask you guys that because
yeah.
I do know I've looked up a whatnot, what I think is whatnot, on their account, but they didn't have anything listed as far as shows coming up. And so I was like, I don't know if this is the authentic one or not.
Oh,
So
shows.
yeah,
So it probably
right.
wasn't them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking for sure. Um, which,
Kenny's
by the way, I'm so glad that you showed that because everybody that's on here, this is streaming live on my YouTube as well. So if anybody needs to go back and screenshot that or see it again or watch, you can always go back and look at the information on this and
they
other seller supports. So.
stream those shows to YouTube as well, so you can go back and watch them on YouTube as well.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay. So, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to ask you guys. And of course, I want to give you a chance to let everyone that's watching know, like, what is coming up for you guys. Like,
Yeah.
what are you most excited about? A train that you're going to be on, some shows you're
Yeah.
going to be doing, amazing item you guys just found. Whatever you want to let people know about.
Okay, well, I'm gonna flip you around so you guys can see what's behind us.
Woohoo! Preview.
So we are on the 1010 takedown. Are you familiar with that? Do you know what
I
that is?
am. So for our viewers, that is a contest, right?
Yes.
where it's 10 seconds, 10
10
minutes,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's so there's 3 rounds. The first 2 rounds you're on for 10 minutes selling 10-second sudden death, so you sell as many items as you can really, really fast. There's 30 sellers that start in the competition, and then the top 15 advance. How do they score it? I can't remember.
It's like 1 point per dollar, and then 1 point per item, and then 2 points for new buyers.
Okay. So there's a scoring system.
Right.
And then the second round, they have 15 sellers. The top 5 advance. And then, so we have advanced twice. So we're on the
Nice.
round. So we'll be going up against 4 other of our friends and competitors. And we're super excited. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what we have here. We have not actually like fully decided yet what we're exactly which items we're going to sell. Okay, but this is a pretty good starting point. So we have like glowy glass all right here, an inkwell. So every single item that you see here will be selling for $3 under 10
Hmm.
seconds. So we've got all kinds of beautiful things. But have you guys seen this? Do you guys know what this is? It's one of the bee boxes.
What is a bee box?
This is an amethyst Tierra Indiana glass bee box. So it's like probably I would say one of the hottest glass items right now that people want. So
I
we
will have to look that up because I've
got
never heard of
those.
such an item.
Yes. And then it's like I have a kind of a hard time because the things I love are like primitive things, like stuff like all of this stuff. Um, they don't necessarily perform the best on a raid train like this.
Mm-hmm.
All of this, like Ellie Smith, Moon and Stars glass, will, all the fairy lamps you probably all already know, like the hens and the fairy lamps and all the things people love. But I love all the primitives. So we will definitely be bringing some of those. We have brass, we have art, we have some quilts. I haven't narrowed down yet which ones we're gonna
Oh,
do.
that yo-yo quilt is amazing.
Oh, isn't that so cool? We're also on a quilt show that same day.
Oh,
so I think this one is going to be our banger quilt for that, because this thing is just crazy. And it's the only reason I didn't choose the yo-yo one is because this one is a lot smaller than this one. But
okay.
we have a wedding ring and a grandma's garden one. So if you guys love hand done quilts, we have them.
Wow,
And
that's amazing.
all kinds of brass and pyrex and ironstone, swung vases, all the things. This is
That's
a
awesome.
basket, an antique bride's basket, which is just crazy. So we have some
So
exciting.
is that on Saturday? Is the 10-10 on Saturday?
It's on Sunday.
On Sunday. Okay.
I don't know what time we're on. Do you?
Oh, they assigned our times. I know
We have
that.
been assigned a time. I don't know if I
don't know what it
updated
is.
it yet though.
Okay. Okay. But they could just go on to your guys's profile and find that show and
Yeah.
bookmark it.
Shows. If you love quilts, we'll run a bunch of quilts. Is it a 5-minute show?
No, it's a
Or 10. I
10
think
minute show.
so. The quilt one is a 10-minute show, and
Oh.
every run one like amazing quilt for the like competition, and then whoever sells the highest wins. Right? I think. I don't know.
I don't know how that
I need to
works.
reread the rules.
Mhm.
That is the downside to being in a lot of trains is you have a lot of information coming at you.
What Allie
Right.
is saying is that if you invite us to a raid train, we will not probably get the rules right.
We may not get the rules right. We'll do our best.
Right. I think most train conductors, though, unless it's a competition, really try to be pretty flexible,
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a competition train at Four Hearts ABCs as well. But ours is
Okay.
on Friday of this week. And I'm the conductor and the person that came up with the contest. And
Ooh.
it is Zero to Hero.
Yeah.
and everyone that participates had to pick one item they either got for free or for less than $5,
Oh,
and then they
yeah.
had to update it to make
Yes.
it go from a zero to a hero.
Right.
And they can run the one item. They get 10 minutes to run the one item and sell things out of their bin and whatever.
Yeah.
And the person who gets the most for their zero item is the winner of the month. And so
I
it's really fun to be in those competition trains for sure.
that.
So yeah. Well, you guys, I think if it's okay with you, we'll open it up, see if anyone has any questions.
Yeah.
Little Miss Crafty, did you see any questions that you could retype in that have kind of come through the messages while we were chatting? If she's still even in here. Hi Vix, how are you? I see you on. Let me just kind of scroll through. I see Tina was in here.
Okay.
We did have a couple of she was Little Miss Crafty was doing a really good job of like
Yeah.
posting the tips you guys were saying in the chat. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but that was pretty awesome. Um, so someone was asking about sponsoring or boosting your own show. I know you guys kind of talked about that.
Yep.
Um, I've never boosted my own show either. I've had my show boosted, but I've never actually boosted my own show. I have heard mixed reviews on that, um, on how it goes. From what I have understood of it, it does push you out there, but it'll push you out there to anybody and everybody,
Right.
not necessarily the people that are looking for what you have.
Right.
Have you noticed that as well?
I mean, I don't know if I I didn't when we were boosted, I would not say that it really impacted us a ton.
I don't think
Do
it
you
did.
think?
Mm-mm.
I mean, like our analytics say that our numbers went up, but I wouldn't say
Mhm.
the difference in sales based off of it. So I think that's probably consistent with what
I,
you're
I
saying.
I would have to say the same because I did have somebody boost me, um, but they did not. It was not like I saw a big influx of people come in and then they would trickle out. So I still don't know if even when we're boosting each other,
Right.
if it's a community boost versus boosting your own show, I don't know if it's putting it out to the people in our category that are interested in what we have versus boosting it out to whatnot in general.
Yeah. Yep.
So I've yet to get confirmation on that myself. So, but somebody did ask about that, which I thought was a great question because that's something that we don't hear a lot talked about on these community chats. So don't really see much else for questions on here. Um, is there anything else you two would like to, talk about before we end the show?
I don't know. Do you have anything? I don't really think so.
Okay, perfect. Well, like I said, this is streaming on my YouTube page. So if anyone says, "Oh, I missed it," you can tell them where to go. It's just my business name, Four Hearts ABCs, and I have other community chats that I do on there as well. But thank you
Okay.
guys so much for joining us tonight and sharing your insights and all of that. So I appreciate you guys being here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
for the
you.
invite.
Yes,
This-
absolutely. I'm glad you guys accepted. So,
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and we'll let you go, and then we're going to go and raid into somebody else. So, I think you guys just click the end show on your end, I think, and then it'll just put it back to just me, and then I'll raid somebody out.
Sounds
Thank you
good.
guys.
We'll see you
See you
later.
later.
Bye. Weren't they just awesome, you guys? So if you missed what they or who they were, that was Iowa Vintage Style. That was Allie and Josh here on Whatnot. So definitely check them out. Let's go ahead and do a raid into somebody. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was amazing. They're really awesome. So let's find someone to raid, see who is on today, you guys, and could use us blessing them with our presence. And let me see if I can find someone that is on that we know. How about here we go. Let's just jump on over here and see what these people have going on, and we will chat with y'all later. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Bye, guys.